you can draw this. Just keep watching this video. By end of this video, you will be able to draw something similar to this. And I have used only the standard brushes in this Procreate, no special brushes. So you should be able to directly start installing the Procreate, or if you already have it, directly use only the standard brushes and you should be able to draw something like this or something of your choice of whatever you like. So without further talking, let's get into the video. Alright, so the usual option, go to the new canvas, select the canvas size. You can select up to whatever canvas you like, but normally I used to select this 2048 cross 2048, which is a square canvas, and go to settings, insert photo, and then insert the photo, and try to set it up in the canvas of your choice of size. So since I'm drawing a portrait of her, I have trying to adjust the image size in a way that the complete details of the face, the hairs are inside the canvas. Now select that layer. You can reduce the opacity. It's up to you how much you want the visibility of the image to be. And then we are set to draw. I usually take the studio pen with a size in the range of 5 to 10 to draw. So the next thing is go ahead and start drawing the outlines, or otherwise they call it as inking. So my option is wherever I see dark lines or darker kind of lines in any kind of shades, I used to just start drawing on it. So while I draw this complete face, you should be able to see how I choose which one should I draw it in part of the inking or the outline. And her name, the person who I'm drawing, her name is Ederly. I met her in Instagram. So I used to draw people um, who were request for free arts in Instagram, specifically my followers. I make a complete free art. So she contacted me there and requested if I can draw her. And she's interesting. She had a very good patience of mind. Um, I told her I'll be taking some time since there are a lot of requests, and I will be doing one by one. So she was really patiently waiting for this, and she's happy. Once I gave this, she's really happy. So there are multiple ways of doing this portrait. What you see here is I'm drawing a complete outline and then start trying to fill in the colors. There are other types of arts as well, which is there in my which is there in part of my other YouTube video collection. You can even check them there. I'll try to add them as a tag on top of this video so you can see them. Some of the art is like no boundaries. It'll be a kind of a realistic directly, or you without the borders you just have the final outcome. So this one is a different kind of art. checking time. So once in a while you can switch off your background and check if the art has come out similar to the person. So if it is, then we are going in the right direction, and continue to draw again. So now create one more layer. This is for a kind of a background. So I'm planning to draw art in for her as part of this total overall art and the final outcome having an art in. So here we go. Let your strokes be gentle so that you get a perfect art in shape. It's okay if you made a mistake, you can delete it and then again draw it again. That's the advantage you have over digital art. So this art in shape is because anyway the final portrait is going to be within a boundary of art in shape. So I drew it first, and then the rest of the body shapes, whichever is closer to the face, I need to have a boundary. So I drew the final boundary, and then I try to match my rest of the parts of the body within those boundaries. That's the reason I drew that little earlier stage itself. And you can see now I'm trying to make the portrait, which are the areas which I'm going to draw or color or add more details. I've just made it within this boundary of the art and shape. So that's the reason we are drawing this as a second step of this overall art. So now getting into the more details. So the first inking the border art which we drew, I'm making it as a reference layer, and then started to add more details inside. Like I'm doing the iris and the rest of the part of the eyeballs. As you can see, I'm using the color picker, um, another useful feature of the digital art. So from there I'm picking those colors, and then finally I use the blend option, or the here it is the Gaussian blur. Once I have both the colors filled in, I just switch on the Gaussian blur option to blur this and the blue and the black together, which will give a much more realistic view of the eyeball. So then we'll add a highlight to the pupil of the eye. So I'm adding a white color there. Many people give different shapes there. Feel free to use your creativity. If you see my other arts in my Instagram, um, each one will have different shapes. So here I'm using this particular a big white circle and the small white circle. So now it is color filling time. So since the main layer has been selected as reference, and any of the rest of the layer, if you just drop in the colors, it will automatically get filled. That's how the Procreate works. So this is an interesting part. So if you see the original eyes, there is lots of colors mixed there, a lot of colors blended. So what I do here is using the color picker, I used to select those colors and then redraw it, and then finally use the Gaussian blur or the blend option to blend it together. Initially, for some days when I started learning this, I used this method. But if you check my other videos, there are other shortcuts as well now to directly get into the stage. But yeah, during my initial days, I learned it like this, like picking the individual colors, understanding the darker spot, what kind of colors are there, in the lighter spot, what are the types of colors are there, and those colors in the color palette, where does it, is it in the top or is it in the bottom in the color palette. So I was able to learn that as well. And as you can see there, I'm just picking each and every colors which I could differentiate, and then pick those colors and then redraw it there again. It's only some of the important parts of the face is what I'm doing this. Mostly I do this for the eyes and maybe the lips. Sometimes for the face also, if there is lots of different shades there, then I do that. So when you draw the lips as well, I pick the colors from the color picker option. Wherever it's dark, I pick those darker colors. Wherever it's light, I pick those lighter colors. It's up to you to pick those individual different colors you can see there. Sometimes you can cut short, sometimes you can be as detailed as possible. Depends on the time you have, or depends on the perfection of the drawing what you want to do. You can choose those colors. Sometimes I take 3 to 4 colors together, a similar kind of colors, and then blend it. Sometimes I go into more details. It all depends on each time, how much I have or what I'm trying to do out of the drawing. So once the color shading is done, now I pick the Gaussian blur option and then slide a little forward so you can have the colors completely blended. So with all the colorings done, now we are getting into the shadows and the highlights, which is one of the most important part of any art. Even I like that a lot, because we always don't get an output of what we think. We need to keep trying different things, and some point of time we get the trick or the crux of those highlights and shadows. So what I'm doing here is, based on the art which I have in the background, I'm trying to find out the darker spots, and I'm coloring them. And as you can see there, wherever there are darker spots is what only those places I'm coloring it. This is one method what I'm showing you here. If you check my other videos, there are other steps, other ways of doing it also. So what I've done here is colored it, then reduce the opacity, and then I use the Gaussian blur to make it like a blurred one. So that's what I do there. So sometimes whatever did, if I don't get a very good output, then I may redraw them, or I just erase it a little and then bring it to shape there. But the shadows and highlights are most important to bring some realism on the any art you try to do. So what I'm doing here is I'm drawing it multiple times on the same spot sometimes, but a smaller size, because the first one is much more darker, then a little more lighter. Some places are a little lighter shadows. So I draw different places with different kind of the opacity or the brightness. So that's why you see there are multiple spots I'm drawing it in, or the same spots I'm drawing sometimes a similar kind of shapes there. So now the shadows are done. I'm starting the highlights. So wherever we see brighter spots, I use a white color and just draw it and then fill the colors there. Here also you can choose the most brightest and a little less brighter spots, and you can draw it accordingly, then give the color and then adjust your opacity and Gaussian blur or the blur option there. So the next is the hair part, most important and interesting area. Again, a lot of creativity is need to be applied here. So what I'm done in this particular drawing is I'm using the color picker to pick the colors, help me pick the colors, and then I draw patches of shades there. If you check my other video, there are also different types of hairs which you can do. This is one kind of that style. So here as well the same thing. Once you have the different darks or the different shades of the hair drawn, and I give a complete background, and then on top of it is what you see the different shades. Then I use the Gaussian blur to blend it along with the background, and that gives a kind of a good look for the hairs. So when it comes to now the background, we're almost done. So when it comes to the background, you remember the first part, the second part of this art, we drew this heart in shape. Now I'm using that boundary to fill the colors. So again, here I just brought in colors which will look nice for this lady here, the beautiful lady here. So use your creativity to give your style of backgrounds. So what you see here now is a kind of thought I got at that point of time when I just gave it. I was thinking of giving some shinings, a 3D look for those backgrounds. So I just drew this with the Studio Pen option. And what I do there is again the Gaussian blur option. Make it little slightly blurred after you draw that. And after you finish the brighter part of it, the highlights, then go with the darker spots. So on the borders, you can give a still more a darker color, and then again do the Gaussian blur. Feel free to make it a little darker or a little lighter, unless you get a shape or a 3D look of what you desire there. And final touch-ups. She's a beautiful lady. I thought I'll give a little thicker kajal for her eyes, which will make her more pretty. And friends, whoever is watching this video, if you have been watching until now, I hope you're enjoying this video. I hope you're learning it. Please don't forget to subscribe, switch on your bell icon, and give a like if you like it. If you don't like it, give a thumbs down, that's fine. Do give a comment of what I can improve or what is good here so I can use those things for improving it on my next videos. And finally, some glow effects to make it a little different of what we draw. So I'm choosing a darker color, darker red, and then using the airbrush, soft brush, and with the clip art option on the layer, you can actually give a very good uh, glow effect. So don't forget to make it a clip art option for the layer on which you're drawing it, and you will get something like this. Alright friends, we have come to the end of this video. If somebody is going to use a similar kind of option and draw something, do post it on Instagram, tag me, that's Partha Arts, and I would love to see that. See you again in the next video. Thanks for watching.